Hey, second and third grade friends. I sure have been missing you guys. I wanted to share with you a story called Goldilocks Returns. It's written and illustrated by Lisa Campbell Ernst. I know you remember the original story about Goldilocks and the three bears. Well, now Goldilocks has grown up. She's much older now. And she wants to go back to the three bears' house. Let's read to find out what happens. As a child, she was known as Goldilocks, and she was very naughty indeed. Her favorite hobby was snooping in houses where no one was at home, until, of course, all that dreadful trouble with the bears. Then Goldilocks grew up, and the older she got, the worse she felt about her horrid behavior. She shortened her name and pinned up her curls so no one would recognize her. Goldie opened a shop to help protect people against snoops. But no matter how she tried to leave her life of crime behind, it haunted her day and night. Goldie had nightmares about the bears. She cried at the mere sight of a teddy bear. Her customers even began to look like bears. "I can't take it any longer," she sobbed at night. "It's time I set things right." Early one morning, Goldie loaded up her truck, turned her shop sign to closed, and zoomed off toward the deep, dark woods. At that very moment, the three bears, whom she had scared out of their wits years before, were sitting down to breakfast. They were Papa Bear, Mama Bear, and their son, who, though not a baby for some 50 years now, still went by the name Baby Bear. Due to the fright brought on by Goldilocks, he still had a wee little voice. Their breakfast, as usual, was porridge, and as it had been every day since any of them could remember, it was much too hot to eat. "Grab your hats," Papa Bear sighed, and the three unsuspecting bears left for their daily walk. No sooner had the three bears left than Goldie screeched to a stop in front of their cozy cottage. "It hasn't changed a bit," she gasped. Strapping her tool belt on, Goldie walked to the door and knocked. A smile crept across her face as she realized the bears again were not at home. Goldie walked right in. "I'll fix that," she chuckled. With a drill in her one hand and a screwdriver in the other, Goldie swung into action. Moments later, the bear's door was laden with the finest in locking hardware, padlock, double bolt, and the secret anti-snoop lock she used in only the most serious cases. "Won't they be delighted?" she crooned. Next, Goldie headed for the kitchen. There sat the three bowls of porridge. "Ish," she said. "It's that same goop as before." Goldie emptied the bowls in the sink. "They won't have to eat this nasty-tasting stuff anymore." And she set out her special fat-free rutabaga breakfast bars and cans of tart and tasty celery juice. Ugh. Does that sound good to you? Ugh. Goldie stocked the cabinets with enough breakfast bars and celery juice to last for months. While she was at it, she threw away any food she thought was unhealthy or didn't like herself. "Now, to spruce up this place a little," Goldie announced, pulling out 3 bolts of pom-pom fringe and her staple gun. The results were stunning. Feeling better already, Goldie burst into the living room. "Egad!" she cried when she saw what Baby Bear had made from the pieces of his broken chair. "Nothing a little hot glue can't fix." Wait a minute. His broken chair he turned into a rocking horse. "And she's gonna fix it," she said. She whipped out her glue gun, and in no time, the rocking horse was a chair again. "Good as new," Goldie said. "No better. Now to fix those other ghastly chairs." Even after all these years, Goldie still judged Mama Bear's chair too soft, Papa Bear's too hard. The stuffing was quickly moved from one chair to the other. Goldie hung hoity-toity drapes, scattered pillows, and covered all the furniture with shiny plastic covers. "Perfect at last," she declared. Goldie raced up the stairs to the three bears' bedroom. "Good golly," she said, testing the beds of Papa Bear and Mama Bear just as I remembered, too hard, too soft. And before you could say Rip Van Winkle, she had adjusted the stuffings to her finicky liking. Goldie sprayed ravishing roses perfume in the air and tied bouquets of plastic flowers around the room for a back-to-nature look. "It's glorious," Goldie sang, falling back on Baby Bear's bed to admire the room. "The bears will be so grateful." Suddenly, Goldie was exhausted, and once again, Baby Bear's bed was just right. Before she knew it, Goldie had drifted off to her most peaceful sleep in 50 years. Do you think they're going to be happy with all the changes she's made at their house? The bears, meanwhile, were finally returning home from their walk. Seeing the truck, they began to worry. They hadn't had much luck with visitors in the past. "What on?" Papa Bear said, noticing the locks on the door. Then he heard Baby Bear squealing in the kitchen. "Oh, no, my golly! Oh, my heavens!" he cried in the wee little voice. "Look, look!" With jaws dropping and eyes popping, the two older bears did just that. Papa Bear snarled at the side of the table and bellowed in his big, deep voice, "Someone has taken my porridge." Mama Bear said, "Someone has taken my porridge," she said in her medium-sized voice. And Baby Bear, discovering the mess in the sink, cried in his willow voice, "Someone has taken my porridge, and they've thrown it all away." Memory told the bears to race to the living room. It was the shocking sight. Papa Bear's knees buckled, and he fell into his now poofy chair. "Someone," he growled, bristling, "has been fooling with my chair." Mama Bear tried hers and gasped, "Hard as a rock." "Someone's been fooling with my chair." "Ah!" Baby Bear screeched, stomping up and down. "Someone has been fooling with my chair, and they put it back together." All three bears ran helter-skelter up the stairs. "Pee-you!" Baby Bear gagged. "What's that smell?" "Ravishing roses," Mama Bear read, picking up the empty bottle off the floor. The two older bears did not even check their beds. They knew where to look. What they saw made their fur stand on end. Baby Bear began to tremble. "She's back," he wailed, hoping it was all just a nightmare. "Someone's been sleeping in my bed, and here she is again." And at that moment, Goldie's eyes popped open. "You're home," Goldie shouted, crushing each bear with a hug and kissing their furry cheeks. The shocked bears opened their mouths to protest, but Goldie raced on. "Now, don't thank me. I know you're terribly grateful, but after all, I was the one who caused the trouble to begin with. Of course, I've more than made up for that." Goldie gleefully danced through the house, pointing out her deeds. "Naturally, I fixed that silly little chair," she said, "and got rid of that nasty-tasting porridge. The rutabaga breakfast bars are fat-free, so you might even be able to lose that extra weight there," she chuckled, tapping Papa Bear on the stomach. That wasn't very nice. A growl began to grow in Papa Bear's throat. But before he could get it out, Goldie tossed him the keys to her fancy locks, hugged them all again, climbed into her truck, and was off. "Wait! Come back!" yelled the bears. But it did no good. As her truck rounded a curve in the road, the bears saw a flash of gold. Goldie, smiling, unpinned her curls and shook them out in the breeze. The dazed bears slowly turned back to their cottage. They moved awkwardly back into their fancy-schmancy house. They couldn't eat, couldn't get comfortable in their chairs, and so finally went to bed. No one slept a wink. Do you think they're happy with the way Goldilocks has changed their house? I don't think so. The next morning, the three exhausted bears sat at the kitchen table, miserably staring at the rutabaga breakfast bars and celery juice. "Maybe we should go for a walk," Mama Bear suggested. and they all ran for their hats. The three bears set off through the woods, relieved to be out of their house. But just then, Baby Bear spied something through the trees. It was a very mischievous-looking little girl skipping along the path that led straight to their cottage. "Oh no," he panicked. "Not this again. We didn't lock the door. Quick, stop her. She might eat our food. She might mess up the fancy things. She might break my chair." The bears began to run after the girl, but then they suddenly stopped. "Eat the food?" asked Mama Bear. "Mess up the fancy things?" asked Papa Bear. "Break my chair?" repeated Baby Bear. Very slowly they all smiled. And then, turning around, the bears happily continued on their walk. So were they happy with the changes that Goldilocks made to their house? I think you know. They were not happy with the changes that she made. You know, Goldilocks her heart was in the right place, but she should have talked to them about all the changes that she wanted to make, and the fact that she wanted to make things right again. That was good. She just went about it the wrong way. But when they saw a new little girl coming through the woods, that made their hearts so happy, because she might just snoop around just like little Goldilocks did many years ago and start messing things up. Because after all, they like things the way they used to be. So I think they were hopeful that they would have everything back to normal again. I hope you enjoyed my story, and I will be reading some more stories in the next few weeks. See you later. Bye, guys.